Hello, my name is Mercy Zawetsky, and this is my short story synopsis of A Woman's World. First of all, we're going to start off with theme and message. The theme that I wanted to convey in this combining race and gender was specifically discussing womanhood and what women have to deal with every single day. Now, I also combine race into it by having a character who is a black woman who experiences racial discrimination at work. So not only is she a woman, but she is also black. So she faces double discrimination every single day. And the message that I wanted to convey in this is the misogynistic upbringing that a lot of women have, and they are struggling with to this day, because as we know, we still live in a misogynistic society, and the social commentary about many of these things are often ignored and unseen. So if it's not seen, then it's ignored. We just don't really talk about it anymore. So I think that this short story is a really good way to bring awareness. Now, my plot and setting. The setting is in New York City, and I also wanted to make the setting in 2025 so it wouldn't confuse readers of, oh, we're going back to 1960, we're going back to 1980, we're going back to 1970. We're not going back to anywhere. We're staying in the present because these problems are still happening in the present day. The main central conflict would simply be being a woman, because that is the only conflict that we really see in problems that women face. It's not, oftentimes maybe it is because a woman is black, but more times often than not, it's simply just because she's a woman. And that's the sad truth of it. Now, the characters that I have in my short story, the three main characters are Mallory, Gabriella, and Talia. Mallory, the name is associated with women's rights and women's advocacy, and she's a black woman who deals with racial conflict in her workplace. Gabriella, the name meaning God is my strength, is a Latino woman who experiences sexual harassment. And Talia, the name meaning to flourish, is a white woman experiencing an eating disorder because of the constant comparison to other women online. And Mallory I would just describe as a strong, confident black woman who knows her place, who is not afraid to speak up, but in this story, she kind of seems a little bit, not hesitant to speak up, but just she says silence speaks louder than words. That is really how she conveys herself in the short story. Gabriella, I would say that she, in her situation, is afraid to speak up from judgment of others, from not wanting to seem crazy, from not wanting to seem irrational. So even though I label her as, extroverted, smart, kind, in the situation that she is put in, which is sexual harassment, she is very afraid to speak up about that. And then Talia is a white woman in her mid-20s. I described her as introverted, creative. She is motivated to become a famous influencer, and that also, her eating disorder derives from wanting to become a famous influencer because she's looking at all these skinny women who are becoming famous, and that's really affecting her. My synopsis and my story follows Mallory, Gabriella, and Talia through their experiences. While Talia has been happening for a little while, her eating disorder, and I tell it through first, second, and third person. So I have some sentences where it's in first person, I have some sentences where it's second person, and then similarly with third person. And then my outline of scenes, I would just describe it as I am going through their morning routines, and then I have different time slots. And so I start off, I'm not saying 6 a.m. Mallory wakes up, 6 a.m. Gabriella wakes up, 6 a.m. Talia wakes up. I kind of go throughout the day, and then in the end of the day, after they have all experienced their own trauma, their own women-connected trauma, they all ironically meet together in a coffee shop, and they share those experiences with each other. And finally, my reflection, I think that this story is very, very important because it shows the simplicity of the traumas of womanhood. So it's not just, I say this here, it's not just an online bully leaving a mean comment. It's not just a creepy man as an Instagram stalker. It's not about a pay gap. It's not even women being paid less by men, because it's not even about the things that, dare I say, are even being brought to legal court. It's just the everyday simplicity of sexual. It's unfortunate to say that is simplicity, but it is. It's women dealing with sexual harassment, black women and women of color dealing with racial discrimination in the workplace, and then women comparing themselves to other women online because of beauty standards put in place by the misogynistic society that we live in. And I hate to say simplicity, but I think that's the best word for it. It's just so the mundane everyday, and it needs to be talked about. I say in here that it either goes completely unnoticed or completely ignored, because that is how normalized it is. And through the different ways of feminism, we have the Me Too movement, which that was in 2017-ish, I want to say. That was, me too. I have been sexually harassed too. I've been raped too. I have been, all of these things. Like, the Me Too movement really brought that up. But I think that we need a new wave of feminism that is going to talk about the everyday just hatred, for lack of a better towards women. And yeah, so that is my reflection, and I hope you enjoyed my short story. And I also chose this presentation because, when you think about being a woman, or how society thinks about women, you think pink, flowers, girly, and so I just wanted to kind of combine both of the ironies of the hardness of being a woman, but also the softness that we are supposed to create in this world. So yeah, thank you for listening.